Let me start over a little bit. All right, so we're going to go through reading comprehension, and I'm going to talk about some basic strategies that you need for doing well, and then I'm going to go through book number 12, test number 5, reading the first reading passage in test number 5, and also test number 6, reading passages 1 and 2. If we have enough time to go through all that, I will. Vocabulary is very important. The better your vocabulary, the more you're going to understand, the faster you're going to understand. If you don't have vocabulary, a lot of times it messes with you because you're guessing and you don't understand meaning. In terms of the IELTS exam, when it comes to reading comprehension, it is all about synonym language. Synonym language and understanding paraphrasing. On the IELTS exam, when it comes to the reading section, the writing section, the speaking section, even the listening section, it's all about your ability to understand synonym language and to be able to understand paraphrasing, because that's often what they use to be able to test your English. Remember, it's an English test. It's the test of your English skill. And for the IELTS exam, the best way they go about doing this is through synonym language and paraphrasing. So that's why vocabulary is so important, right? Because if you have good vocabulary and you understand the strategy that it's about synonym language and paraphrasing, then that's very helpful. Another thing that helps very good in terms of reading comprehension, and if you have taken my course and you've listened to some of the lectures, this is something you would know. Right, questions that go in order and those that don't. This is a very, very key point. Some of the questions on the exam go in order, others don't. Right, now I lay all this out in the different lectures, so I'm not going to go through it in great detail here. But your true, false, not given, your fill the blank, your short answer questions, your sentence completion questions, those questions go in order, right? That means that, after number 1, you'll find number 2. After number 2, you'll find number 3. And there are other questions that don't go in order, like matching questions sometimes don't go in order. Paragraph location questions don't go in order. Sometimes a summary question doesn't go in order. Now, why is that important? Because if you know questions that go in order, you're able to then find where the next question is. You're not looking all over the reading passage for something. Now, another important point is understanding, right, what the IELTS reading is about. IELTS reading is about your ability to scan. A lot of people make a big, big mistake with reading comprehension because they try to just read the passage and then answer the questions. The exam is not designed for that. All right? The exam is not designed for you to have time to read the whole passage, then answer the questions. That's not how it works. Right? The way it works is it's done by scanning. It's your ability to look at a question, to scan quickly through the passage for where that information is located, and then being able to find your answer based on that sentence where the information is located. People that are able to do well in terms of time management are very good at the skill of scanning, right? So you have to be good at that skill. The better a person is at scanning and locating the information where the question comes from, the higher that person's score is, and the better they are at time management. So there's certain skills that you have to do well, right? We're talking about skills to do well on the reading comprehension. You have to have vocabulary skill. You have to have synonym language skill. You have to have the skill of scanning. Okay, that improves accuracy and also improves time management, those things. Another thing that's very, very helpful is application of strategy. For some people, they understand the strategy, but they don't do a really good job of applying the strategy. So application of strategy is very, very important, right? You have to be able to apply it consistently well, consistently well. But I would say that these are the top 5 things you have to be able to do well to get a great score in reading comprehension, right? It's not overly complicated, but again, you have to be able to apply it very well. So today I'm going to be going through book number 12, and I'll be talking about question strategy and how you go about answering different questions. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to ask. All right. If you did these reading passages already and you got an answer wrong and you want to ask me, why did I get this one wrong? Please ask me and I will answer it. I will answer it for you. I'll try to. I should be able to, but I'll try my best. All right, so let's get started. Oh, so it's not what I want. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. All right, yep, this is the one I want. All right, so this is the reading passage that I'm looking at. Right, and like this is from book number 12, it's test number 5. If you have a question, type it for me, please. Okay. If you have a question, type it, because I might not be able to answer your question immediately, but if you type it, I can make sure that I answer it for you. Okay. And also there's a record of it so that you don't have to try to remember it. I don't have to try to remember what your question was. So if you have a question, type it, please. All right. So the first thing that I do when I have a reading passage, or the first thing that you should do when you have a reading passage, don't start reading. All right, don't start looking at the topic sentences or any of that kind of stuff. First thing you do, go look at the kind of questions you have to do. You see some things highlighted in yellow, but that's because I'm using that to teach you. So the first thing I do is you look at what kind of questions do you have, right? So we have a true, false, not given question, and we have a fill the blank question, right? So when I look at this, I look at it and I say, okay, I have a true, false, not given question. These questions go in order. That means after number 1 is going to come number 2. After number 2 is going to come after number 3, so forth and so on. That goes in order. I'm really happy because that means this information is going to be easy to find if I'm good at scanning. And then when we get to our fill the blank questions again, these questions go in order. So I'm really happy. That means this information is going to be easy to find. Right? So when we are looking at a true, false, not given question, the main thing that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to highlight the key words in the question, right? So let's talk about really quickly the strategy of a true, false question. Right, so some of you have problems with the true, false, not given. Yes, to answer your first question, yes. True, false, not given always goes in order. Yes, no, not given. True, false, not given goes in order. Yes, no, not given always goes in order. Fill the blank goes in order. Short answer questions go in order. All right, these questions always go in order. Always. All right. Right now, I'm working in book number 12, and in book number 12, they go in order. In book number 7, they went in order. In book number 5, they go in order. In book 10, they go in order. That hasn't changed. Easy type of questions go in order. Well, in general, the questions that go in order are a little bit easier to handle. The matching question doesn't go in order, but the matching question is not difficult, right? So, I mean, the questions that are the most difficult questions are your paragraph location question, your question that's a summary question is a little bit more challenging, and the headings question is a challenging question, right? But those are the three most challenging questions for students. So for a true, false, not given question, our first thing we want to do, of course, is underline the keywords in the questions to decide which questions are easiest to locate first. Find the matching passage language. Then you are comparing the sentences in terms of the question and the passage. Right? This is our basic strategy that we have in terms of strategy for finding this information for a true, false, not given question. Right? Underline the keywords in the question, decide which questions are easiest to first, find the matching passage language for a question. Right? And then you have to compare. Right now, some students are confused by the meaning of true, false, not given. So I'm just going to break that down very quickly. True. What does true mean? All of the information in the question, comma, we can see in the passage sentence. Right? That's what true is. All the information in the question we can see in the passage sentence. They will often paraphrase, but have the same meaning. Right? They'll paraphrase but have the same meaning. That's what true means. Right? That's the meaning of true. Now when it comes to false, false means this is what false means. False means that the subject, object, or verb of the question is different, opposite, or changed in the passage sentence. Right? That's what false means. It's very important that you understand this part. Okay? That's why a lot of people get this one wrong. Not given. What does not given mean? Not given means information in the question is missing from the passage sentence. Right? Information in the question is missing from the passage sentence. You are always comparing the question to the passage, not the passage to the question. Question to the passage, not passage to the question. It is a one-way comparison. Okay? Very often, the passage sentence might be longer than the question. But if all the information in the question is there, the answer is true. All the information in the passage sentence does not have to be in the question. All right? It's very important to understand. You're not comparing the passage to the question. You're comparing the question to the passage. That is very important, and that's something that a lot of people get wrong. Right? But that's how we understand it. So now I'm going to walk through this question. Does anybody have any questions about this before I walk through this question, this first question of true, false, not given? Any question? No questions? Okay. Right, so first thing, the first step, as I told you, is I'm going to look at the keywords in the question, right? So here I know that the first one I'm looking at is about the thickest bark, right? And I'm looking at cork oak and thickest bark. Those are important words I'm looking for. For the second question, we're talking about synthetic cork, and we are talking about scientists, right? And we're talking about same cellular structure, right? That word same is very important, all right? The next one has a very easy word to find, 25 years, right? And we're dealing with the first and second harvest, right? This is one thing that I would be doing if I'm working on paper is I'm highlighting, I'm underlining these keywords. Dry atmospheric conditions, right? Strip, dry atmosphere, that's what's important, right? Only way remove is by hand. Right, so these are the keywords in each question that I would quickly underline. Now, when we look at these questions, right, which one would you say, and I want you can type your answer, don't speak it, type your answer. Which one would you say is the easiest to do? Number 3, correct. So when you're doing your test, you start with number 3. This applies whether you're doing the general exam or the academic exam. Same strategy. We start with number 3, right? So since we're starting with number 3, we will be looking for some information where it's talking about 25 years, right? And if you see right here on the right side, you see over here it says 25 years. That tells me that this is where this information is coming from. Right, now this is number 3. Right, this is number 3. So what does that mean? That means number 2 and 1 are above it. That means number 4 and 5 are below it. This is going to help me to be able to find where information is located faster because I was able to find number 3 very quickly. That means 2 and 1 are before it and 4 and 5 are below it. Right now, if we look back down at our questions, you can see where everything is. Number 2 is dealing with scientists and cellular structure. Number 1 is dealing with bark or thickest or bark. All right, so if you look right here, over here on the left side where it talks about technology, okay, and it talks about sales, right here, that's where number 2 is. Number 2 is right in that area where we see sales and technology. Technology is a synonym that they're using for scientists or scientific development. And we see sales, that means number 2 is right here. Before that, in the top of the paragraph, we see bark and growing and thickness, right? That means that this is where number 1 is. So as you can see, it goes in order, right? It goes in order. All right, that's number 1. Oh, this is bad handwriting.